The million-dollar question in this deal is, how do you equip? Because we all know if we're in a leadership position, we're called by God to equip others for the work of service. But how do you do that? Well, we want to walk you through, in the remainder of these sessions, a very practical step-by-step phasing for how you equip individuals and then from there teams of people to do the work of ministry such that all of you are successful, biblically defined, faithful, fruitful, fulfilled to make God famous. Very quickly to run you through it in an overview, phase one is what we call the calling phase. That's the time in which you cast a vision to an individual for a contribution you see them being able to make based on the gifts, the passion that God has given them. And then once they get on the team, you call them, invite them to get on board. The second phase we call connecting. Connecting in many church or parachurch organizations is known as assimilation. That's the process by which an outsider becomes an insider. And we want to connect them to the mission of this particular ministry team as well as to one another. And so that's the connecting phase. And then the third phase is the coaching phase, which perhaps is the biggest block because now they're on board and now we're going to be about directing and leading and guiding and supporting, helping them to make their contribution. And as you know, great coaches, what makes them great coaches is that they take the level of their players' play to a new level. So that the fair player becomes a good player, the good player becomes a great player becomes a Hall of Fame player. That's what great coaches do. That's what great leaders do as they equip. And then finally, the reality is that there is a final phase, and that we just call changing, the changing phase, because the reality is most people are not going to remain in the same position on the same team for the rest of their life. They're going to be involved in other things. So that's an overview. In this particular session, we want to talk about calling and what that involves.
Yeah.